We're here in Tarporley at the dreamy Oulton Park. It's round 5 of the Thundersport GB Championship 2016.
Welcome to Oulton Park then. It is round 5 of 9 for 2016 with Thundersport. The Aprilia Challenge, some big names have won this in the past. Of course, changes to the rules for 2016 in our Superteen class. The arrival of the RRV 450R, restricted version of the 450. And a few riders just struggling away from the line. Here we go then. 450s are away at the front. This is the second grid. Rhys Irwin here we're on board with, younger brother of Keelan, currently sitting third in the championship. There's only 16 points between 3 riders, so all to play for here in a double point race. The rider to look out for, and the rider certainly on form in the last few rounds, is on that 2-stroke. Number 55, Jack Scott, has looked a handful. There's a few riders. There he is, in fact, just going through with his green wheels. Jack Scott there. Look at the speed he carries around Shell Oils. Rhys Irwin tries now to close him down. A few riders keeping a look over their shoulder. Who's that out front leading, I wonder? Is that Lawrence Edgley? We'll see in a moment as they make their way through the chicane here and up over the crest down towards Hizzies. We're on board here with Rhys Irwin again. Scott Racing Motorcycles, Aprilia RRV 450R. 50% of the power. Oh, a bit wide into Hizzies there, so he just loses a bit of time. But out front, Jack Scott closing in on taking the race lead overall. Double points available. Jack Scott really could get himself into contention for this overall championship lead. Coming into this round, 3 points behind Cade Verwey. Now, Cade Verwey not here, so big opportunities. There he goes, Jack Scott into the lead of this race overall. On board with Rhys Irwin, and you're looking at that unfolding as they head into Lodge Corner. Scott really having a proper dust up there, and the rider's gone straight on, and I think that's Lawrence Edgley. It is Lawrence Edgley who's gone down. Oh, he was leading the race for a little while, and a bit of a kick to the screen as well for good measure. Lawrence Edgley down and out of the race. Here comes Rhys Irwin past Jack Scott. Jack Scott lost a bit of momentum as a result of that tangle with him and Lawrence Edgley a little earlier on. So here they both are coming through turn 1. Jack Scott has a big look over his shoulder just to see whether or not it's a straight race between these two. Down through Cascades we go. This is where the grunt of that 450R might have an advantage, but the corner speed held by Jack Scott there. Look at that, you can see there's not a lot to pick between them. They come around Island Bend here, and look at that, around the outside for Jack Scott, and he retakes the lead. Now breaking into Shell Oils, on board with Rhys Irwin, third in the championship, but he's only 13 points down on Jack Scott coming into this race with no Cade Verwey and double points on offer. Could be a big championship change. Further back there's Matt Bauer, number 78, and 24 Max Lofthouse. Jake Clark and Jody Fieldhouse also going well in the Superteens. Harry Lee, Ben Ashcroft and Jamie Harnett. They are your Superteens here in this race, and it's Jack Scott at the moment that has the advantage as they go into Hizzies. Now then, on brakes there, Rhys Irwin tries to find a way through. Just slightly late into the corner there again for Rhys Irwin. It's costing him a good few tenths of a second. Matt Bauer there just putting on a move to repass Max Lofthouse, and then there is rookie number 13 Jake Clark from Bromsgrove. There's Jack Scott then. Look at that lead he's got there. Nicely done from him. Rhys Irwin at some point might just be thinking of the championship here in the bigger picture. We'll be going to Rockingham next, and Rhys Irwin had a good result at Rockingham last year. He'll be looking forward to that round, and so it's really important here, especially with double points on offer, not to do anything too silly. And he's struggling here to hang on to the back of Jack Scott, and I think that's it. Rhys Irwin is saying, you know what, second place is good enough, 40 points. I won't lead the championship, but this is not happening. Jack Scott has got a free pass here to try and win this race. Now the battle for third, not quite so straightforward. Max Lofthouse goes back into third place. Number 24, the rider from Burnley, goes up ahead of Sheffield's Matt Bauer. through shell oils they go. Changing positions, of course, a place on the podium available for the winner of this battle, and don't count out the rookie Jake Clark there either, number 13, who will be watching and learning this battle up ahead of himself. Of course, you can see those bibs and the Ben Gautry Foundation logos attached. Ben Gautry, of course, coming through the Aprilia Superteens and the Aprilia Challenge when he first started racing. Sadly lost his life in a motorcycle racing accident, but the Gautry family continue to help out with the foundation and help younger riders get into the sport and help with their funding as well. Of course, Steve Brogan, part of that foundation, former Superteen champion himself, British Championship rider, does some tutoring for a number of these youngsters as they make it into racing. I mentioned championship leader earlier, Cade Verwey, not here as we see there. Number 13, Jake Clark, going underneath Matt Bauer. That Verwey wasn't here, apparently involved in an accident yesterday here at Oulton Park, went to hospital. I understand he's going to be okay and should be back for Rockingham, but he's not going to be racing here today. That's a costly championship loss that's going to be, unfortunately, for Cade, but at least he's okay. That's the main thing. Jack Scott at the moment leads this one handsomely. Since he's got out front, he's had a big look over his shoulder. Talented rider, this one. Not always been put fully to the test at times, but he'll have his work cut out again when they get to Rockingham. He's got another race coming up later. He could take a bit of a championship gap here away from him if he can win this race and do the same in race 2. You just never know, do you? It's motorcycle racing. And as we saw from a few other classes here at Oulton Park so far, with double points available, things can get turned on their head pretty quickly. But this race certainly looks to be just going one way. Jack Scott leads from Rhys Irwin. There your top two. Across the line again there for Scott. In second place, Rhys Irwin will go across the line in a moment. Jack Scott from Luton. That's JJ Racing Aprilia 125. There is Max Lofthouse then, currently in third place, ahead of Matt Bauer. Jake Clark just lost a couple of tenths, maybe just lost the toe now of the two more experienced riders up ahead of him, but it would be a good fifth place nonetheless. Jake Clark, sorry, in sixth place overall in the championship. Of these guys fighting, Max Lofthouse is the one that's highest in the championship, fourth overall. Matt Bauer down in ninth. Jack Scott then, he was 3 points behind Cade Verwey coming into Oulton Park, but 50 points on offer here will mean that he will take a 47-point lead over Verwey, but it will be Rhys Irwin that will climb into second place overall in the championship. He's even able now just to sit up a little earlier through the chicanes as well, through Britain's. Will he have another look over his shoulder? No, keeps his head tucked in. Let's see how big that lead is now for him. Wow, it's pretty big. He's over 15 seconds now for him. This battle continues for third. In the background there, the 450s are coming in. They're homing in now. Try and put laps on these guys. We're on board with Rhys Irwin. He's in a bit of a lonely race now as he heads around in second place. There he is. Jack Scott already managing to get himself onto the start-finish straight now. Rhys Irwin there in second. One of the more lonely Superteen races I think you're ever likely to see. We've seen them a lot closer than this so far this season, but this is really spread out. Of course, not helped by the fact that Cade Verwey's missing and that Lawrence Edgley went out of the race early doors. Will Hodgson, the 450 rider, just going through on the Superteens. It looked like Max Lofthouse was preparing a move then on Matt Bauer into Old Hall Corner on this final lap. Jack Scott then just got to cruise it home now. Of course, not easy to roll off the pace on a Aprilia 125 production motorcycle. They need to be kept in those high revs. You try and roll off the pace completely on a Superteen machine like that, and you'll find yourself in all sorts of trouble. Exactly what Scott is doing here at the moment. Through Britain chicane, just over half a lap left then for him. And even if he was to look over his shoulder right now, he will not see Rhys Irwin, because the lead is over 20 seconds now for him, I think. Brilliant stuff from him. Through his ease. Oh, despite what I say, he still is rolling it off. Very calm and collected through his chicane. Rhys Irwin in a safe second position. He'll take 40 points, but who will get third? Here he is, Rhys Irwin. Quite nice weather-wise at the moment, but there are a few menacing clouds hovering about. We'll have to see if that affects race 2 coming up a bit later on. Checkered flag out though, no denying the winner. Jack Scott wins it here, 25 points times 2. The double points win for him, and that will give him the championship lead overall in race 1. Rhys Irwin second then. Max Lofthouse it was that managed to finish in third place ahead of Matt Bauer. Then it was Jake Clark in 5th, the rookie, and Jody Fieldhouse in 6th place. Top 3 on your screen. Scott there ahead of Rhys Irwin and Max Lofthouse.
Max, third place. You must be chuffed with that.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I mean, I was battling with Matt for it all, and then I just managed to get him on the last lap and, you know, play a bit defensively and keep him behind me. But no, I'm really happy with my result, and I hope to do more like this year.
In race 2, of course, still to come. And have you got some sponsors you'd like to thank?
Not really. I'd just like to thank my mum and my dad, you know, for supporting me, and yeah, really, just that's it.
Rhys, well, it's not a bad weekend, is it? I mean, I know you prefer to win, but second place is not so bad, is it?
Yeah, after coming back from an OK Cadwell, it's nice to be back up on the podium because I missed you, Syd.
Thank you. And have you got some people to thank?
Yeah, just a lot of people, everyone really, just Trevor, Scott, the whole team, Scott Racing Motorcycles. Huge thanks to James Galler, Oasis Bar, because he's always been behind me. Grace Ann Regan, Wesley Regan, and Clean Rubber Sligo. And then Mum and Dad as well, and then just everyone else here on my helmet. So everyone, because coming from Ireland, it's hard to come over without having everyone helping you, so it's every bit of help we can get's good.
Jack, you've done it again. You've nicked it again.
Yeah, it was another great win. Just trying to pull a gap the whole way race. Yeah, it was a good race.
Absolutely, and you're showing that the two-strokes still have it, haven't you?
Yeah, I just can't believe it really. The two strokes, yeah. I don't think you need one of those 450/50s.
No, you don't anyway, that's for sure. And sponsors to thank.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my mum and dad obviously for all they've done. Liberty Bishop, Two Wheel Centre, Revo Sunglasses, Amber Leisure, Silkleen, and everyone else who supports me.
Dominant performance from Scott in race 1. Race 2 coming up in a moment. Aprilia Superteens Race 2 brought to you by Dunlop. It's round 5 at Oulton Park for 2016. Of course, the 450s out there with the Superteens. So we'll try and keep you up to date on how they go. Lawrence Edgerly went down in race 1. He's got a new screen after he kicked the old one off. Rhys Irwin is up there again. And Jack Scott, number 55, just to the left of the picture there at the top, will be looking for a double win all one of the 16 riders there, just struggling to get away from the line, unfortunately. I'm not sure if he's ended up being helped away, just struggling, bogging one of those 125s, as Max Lofthouse stuck behind Jake Clark, one of the newcomers to this championship. You can see the newcomers with the orange bibs on board here with Rhys Irwin then. There goes Jack Scott once more, just like we saw in the first race, although different conditions here for both riders. Bit of a dry line there around Shell Oils, but Scott was impossible to stop earlier on. It looks like he's going to try and continue that and take a double win here, which would be 100 points. Through Britain Chicane we go. The wet tyres, of course, the option. Wet race declared, wet tyres all round for the entire field. Here is Scott then, race leader, heading into his east. Palmer through his east, and of course he was earlier on in that dry race. Now with Rhys Irwin coming through that same section. In second place at the moment is Rhys. Might be challenged a bit here in this race, not obviously from Jack Scott, who's already up ahead of him, but Lawrence Edgley, who went down in race 1, might fancy a nibble at the podium here. Going a bit wide into Druids, there is Rhys Irwin. He manages to recover well, and now down towards Lodge Corner. An idea as to how greasy these conditions are. A few dry lines appearing, but it's not really one or the other. It's not dry, it's certainly not fully wet, but you wouldn't want to be on anything other than wet tyres. Scott it is that leads. Look at that lead already, and we said about Lawrence Edgley, and there he is challenging. In 4th place is Matt Bauer, then it's Jake Clark. So there is Lawrence Edgley. Lawrence currently 5th in the championship, and now he might just pop up underneath him. Yeah, he does. Lawrence Edgley goes into 2nd place then. Around Cascades we go. They have a job on to catch Jack Scott. He's a good 4 or 5 seconds up the road. There is Scott, gets himself tucked in. He'll see that Edgley's just got himself now up into 2nd place ahead of Rhys Irwin. Does more damage to Rhys in the championship though if the checkered flag were to go out now. Over the top of the brow on the exit of Britain's. Ugly conditions here in this second half of the afternoon. Clear visor on for Jack Scott. Doesn't really seem phased by the wet though. Lapping at the moment. Jack Scott in the 2.14s as opposed to Edgley in the 15s and Rhys Irwin in the 16s. So Jack Scott got a comfortable advantage out front. So easy to make a mistake in these conditions. On board here with Rhys Irwin. Just up ahead of him is Lawrence Edgley. Trying to keep with him, but he's finding it a struggle in the background there. There you can see the two boys in 2nd and 3rd. Jack Scott already breaking down into Lodge Corner. Matt Bowers there in 4th place, number 78. And then it's Jake Clark. Of course, they'll be able to get temperature now into these tyres, which will give them a bit of confidence. There is more rain forecast here. We'll see how that develops. Jack Scott still leading overall. Few spots of rain there. Look, it's raining again here. And so that could well affect them. The temperatures will drop now on circuit. And the riders will have to try and adjust to that. Jake Clark there doesn't seem too phased, the rookie. Scott's lead. Let's see whether that can stay the same. Through Britain Chicane we go. Definitely look at how dark it's getting here at Oulton Park. The dark clouds that we were hoping might just stay away from us, unfortunately, have come to haunt us once more. Rained earlier on, hence why we've got a wet race on our hands, and it's raining again now at different parts of the circuit. Challenging and tricky moments here for the youngest group of the Thundersport roster. Jack Scott, there's his lead. Let's see if it's opened up or stayed the same. It's opened up. He's actually extended that lead over Lawrence Edgley. And Lawrence Edgley in turn has got away from Rhys Irwin. Number 88 there is Harry Lee, who's just been lapped. Here, Jack Scott's two-stroke steaming up past the start-finish line to start another lap already. And there's Matt Bauer and Jake Clark. Jake Clark certainly looking like he's a fan of these awkward conditions. Oh, dearie me, and wide goes Matt Bauer and out of the race. He loses the front end. In the background there, a 450 finds it a struggle as well to get tipped in. Matt Bauer, unfortunately, kisses goodbye his chances of a podium here. Jack Scott it is that leads from Lawrence Edgley and Rhys Irwin. Then it's Jake Clark, who's now the rookie in quite a lonely 4th place. Scott gets tucked in once more up towards Britain chicane. Steer clear of those curbs through here. He'll flick left, right, and then left again over the top of the brow. There's Edgley in 2nd. Doesn't want to get himself involved in anything too silly this time around. Rhys Irwin, 3rd place, double points we mentioned before, 50 for the win, 40 for the 2nd, 32 points for the rider that finishes in 3rd place. Here we are then on board with Rhys Irwin, giving you a good view of Oulton Park as they tip down into the chicane. Really tough to get your braking point. Flicking right and then left. It's getting a bit wetter here. Yellow flag's being waved there. And on the right, that's Jack Scott. Your race leader, Jack Scott, has gone down. And that's big. That's big news. Jack Scott, who was so comfortable out front, unfortunately it looks like he's gone down as the conditions worsen here. Lawrence Edgley will have seen that. That means he now inherits 1st place. Rhys Irwin will go up to 2nd. Jake Clark, the rookie, is going to get himself his 1st podium if it stays the same. But that is a big change in the championship. Jack Scott was going to take quite a nice, handsome lead with him to the championship last time around. And the last lap begins. So Lawrence Edgley, having been so upset last time out, just has 1 lap to go. This will be the longest lap of his life, mind you. And Rhys Irwin will be thanking his lucky stars, because this puts him straight back in the championship hunt. In fact, this probably will give Rhys Irwin the outright lead overall in the championship again, so things looking pretty again. And there's Sam Cox just going through, actually, 450 rider. He's just putting a lap on these guys, but Lawrence Edgley, well, he's certainly not home and dry, because it's far from dry. These conditions are awful here at Oulton Park. Dark, dingy, wet, and they'll all be looking forward to getting themselves out. That's the outright leader of this race, Sam Cox. And this is Rhys Irwin, who's on for 2nd place. Through to Shell Oils we go. No mistakes on this last lap. That's what all the mums, dads and team members will be saying to these guys, especially with such big points on offer. Irwin will have been thinking, well, let's get ourselves to Rockingham and we'll see if we can retake the championship lead, and he's been offered it on a plate with Jack Scott going down. This is Sam Cox then, the 450 outright leader. Now he's closing up on lapping Lawrence Edgley, and Lawrence Edgley here, well, there's going to be 3 very happy faces on the podium. 3rd will be a complete newcomer, Jake Clark, with his rookie vest on. Rhys Irwin has all of a sudden been gifted the championship lead, and Lawrence Edgley here, number 97. We'll see the checkered flag in a moment, and he will be given his 1st ever race victory, and it will feel fantastic, especially in awful conditions like this. The checkered flag goes out then, and it is a win for Lawrence Edgley in the Superteens, his 1st. Brilliant stuff for him. 2nd place will go to Rhys Irwin, and that will give him the championship lead. Confirmation of that in a moment. Jake Clark with his 1st ever podium in 3rd. Lofthouse 4th. Jody Fieldhouse in 5th place. And then Ben Ashcroft finishing in 6th. Top 3 very happy there. Edgley, Rhys Irwin and Jake Clark. And now let's look at the championship standings. Rhys Irwin heads to Rockingham with the series lead ahead of Jack Scott. Cade Verwey has missed out, but he's still in the hunt overall.
So, Jake, what was it like splashing about out there to get 3rd place?
It was great fun, yeah, but terrible conditions.
Absolutely. And just staying up, bringing it home, was it?
Yeah, just trying to get there to the end, make it to the end.
Good lad. And have you got any sponsors to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Nevis, 151, all the Thundersport guys, marshals and medics.
Reese, well, it's a strange way. It looks like you're going to have a wet trip back to the Emerald Isle.
Yeah, it was really, really wet, and usually the wet brings out the best in Irish riders, but I seen with the circumstances and where I was slaying was a brilliant result, so I just took it home, and in the last few laps just rode around like a duck.
Yeah, but, but that is the consistency that wins the day at the end of the season, you know. All the points that you get, double points after all.
Yeah, it was really, really valuable weekend because there's double points this weekend, so I didn't want to throw it down the road for something stupid, trying to catch Lawrence, so I just thought I'd take it home, and happy enough I'm here now.
Lawrence, well, there's nothing like your maiden win, but you do know how to pick 'em.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to dry up at one stage, but obviously not. Just started pouring it, but just got on with it, I suppose. So, yeah, really.
But you were riding really well in the rain. I mean, it's almost like it wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been that confident in the wet, but just kept going and sort of soldiering on with it. But yeah, no, it was a great race.
Well, I'm sure you got to shout out to some people.
Yeah, whole of Team Edge, Dad, Ali, Dave, Kevin. Massive thanks to him for doing all the mechanics on the bikes. Great help. Thank you.
Still all to play for in the Superteen Championship. That's it from Oulton Park, though, for another year. Next up for Thundersport, join us at Rockingham.